You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio, a 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe, and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Extension Hour. I'm Amy Ressler, County Extension Agent for Family and Community Health. I've got three strapping young men here in the studio with me today. So this is the Extension Hour. We talk about all things with Extension, people, programs, partnerships. And Matt has been one of our great partners throughout the years. And so I've always been very honored and pleased to work with them because you guys have some really innovative programs. And so we're going to talk about a couple of them in particular today. But before we do that, let me get into just a couple of things, things that are coming up with Extension. Of course, our Master Gardeners, they are awesome. They do classes on Saturdays that are open for the public. So once a month, they'll do actually they do two classes. So on February 8th, which is tomorrow, they will do one on turf grass selection and maintenance, and then another one on growing spring vegetables in Montgomery County. Because, you know, growing things in Montgomery County can be different than even just up the road in Harris County. So the first class is 8 to 10 a.m. The second class is 10:30 to 12:30. It's $5 per session or $8 for both. And you can pay at the door. So it's open and it's there at the Extension office, so 9020 Airport Road. And then the other thing that people are always looking forward to that the Master Gardeners has is the spring plant sale. So a couple weeks ago, they had their fruit and nut tree sale, which was awesome. But this one will focus just on spring plants, and that's scheduled for March 28th. So they do a little presentation at 8 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock, the sale is on. And then also mark your calendars for May 2nd, Open Garden Day. So that's kind of like an open house where people can just come and go, visit the gardens. They've got a lot of the Master Gardeners out there who are there to answer questions. And it's a lot of fun. So May 2nd, March 28th, February 8th, important dates. All right, so let's get into what we're going to talk about today. So we've got, like I said, these handsome men in here with me. We've got Raphael Henry, we have Colin Kinge, and Daniel Lugo. Don't give you a new name. Yeah, sorry. So you guys are with Motivation Education Training Incorporated. So we affectionately call that MET. That's the acronym for it. So if you hear us say MET, that's what it is. But they're an organization that has several federal grants, right? So Raphael, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your position, and then you can tell us a little bit more about MET as well.
My name is Raphael Henry, and I am the operations manager for the fatherhood programs within MET Incorporated. And MET has a host of a lot of programs. The one in particular that we're going to be talking about today is one that is within Montgomery County. So within Montgomery County, we have our fatherhood program. We have a home visiting program, as well as our CSEP program is for seniors 55 and older that is looking for employment. And then we also have our home visiting program as well that work with with mothers or families that have children 0 to 5 years of age.
Okay, yeah, so lots of really good stuff. Serve several counties.
Yes.
Actually, the headquarters is here in Montgomery County, but and there's actually some programs in other states as well, if I remember correctly.
That is correct.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Raphael, what do you do?
I'm the operations manager there.
Okay.
And I oversee the fatherhood programs.
Okay, all right. And then Colin?
And then I am Colin Kinge, and I am the advocate for the Fatherhood Effect program for Montgomery County.
All right. And Daniel?
My name is Daniel Lugo.
Yeah, not Dale.
I am the Continuous Quality Improvement Specialist, better known as the CQI Specialist. So basically, I just overlook all the data, make sure everything is good, and outreach to any community partners that are willing to help out.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about you guys. How did you meet MET?
Indeed.
Yes, yeah, I second that.
Indeed, a good place to find a job.
It was.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And Raphael, we were talking, you're pretty proud of being from Prairie View.
I am.
Yes. So, by the way, since this is the Extension Hour, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about, we also have our partner, we call it kind of a sister organization, which is the Cooperative Extension Program, which is through Prairie View. So A&M is land-grant university. Prairie View is also a land-grant university. So Prairie View was
76.
76, but the land grant was like 1890.
90, I think, yes.
So the 1890 was the land grant, which established the extension service of Prairie View. So Prairie View, just like A&M, does a lot of other things, but they also do extension. And so 1862 was a land grant for Texas A&M, 1890 for Prairie View, and basically, the job of both of those extension services are to help serve the people of Texas, provide university-based research, reliable information for the people of the community.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so that's my spiel on extension. But tell us a little bit more. You went to Prairie View?
I did. I attended
degree?
Prairie View, and my bachelor's degree is actually in agricultural sciences. So I have a background in ag science as well, and then I received my master's from Prairie View in human sciences to hopefully become an LPC one day. Okay. Just not yet.
LPC?
Yeah, a licensed professional counselor.
Yeah, and so you were also a 4-H member. You've been keeping that secret from me.
I have. I'm sorry. I am. My grandmother was actually an extension agent in Falls County, and of course, if grandma's in it and over it, you have to be in it.
That's
and
right.
all of my cousins, siblings were a part of the 4-H, and actually, I was the 4-H president my last year, my senior year in high school, which gained me scholarships to Prairie View because of their leadership labs that they have during the summer times.
Yeah. It's awesome. So was leadership your main project in 4-H?
Leadership, cooking, textile, anything that grandmother needed a space, we had to fill in.
If grandma said you did it.
You had to do it, yeah.
That's a really good grandma that you had there. I can tell. All right, Colin, tell us a little bit about your background. How did you meet Matt?
Indeed as well. I was just on looking one night. I applied. I looked at it and I was like, well, it sounds interesting. I went to their website and all that popped up was the National Farm Worker part, and I was like, okay, maybe let's revisit this maybe. And then I think it was our senior advocate Bob called me, set up the interview, met with Raphael, and I was like, well, this is completely different than what the website said. And then when I started, I was like, this sounds even more different than but I've grown to love it. I like helping people. I was law enforcement before this for a brief period of time, and I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, indeed.
Law enforcement's not fun?
No, it is.
I'm joking.
I had my whole life
it,
planned out, and once I got into it, I was like, this isn't for me. It's time to move on, and better to realize that sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting where life takes us sometimes in places that we didn't anticipate. Which, Daniel, you were saying that's a little bit like your story. You had other plans and things changed.
Yeah, like we were talking about before, started off as a young father, teenage father. So a lot of the stuff that we provide for our fathers is something that I wish that I had when I was growing up. Because I struggled, did hard labor jobs all through my 20s to provide for my family. And then I went to college when I started college in 32. So I was 6 months away from graduating with my bachelor's in criminal justice. And then I had a massive heart attack. So needless to say, that altered my life because I know how stressful it is with the criminal justice, being a police officer, things of that nature, because that's the route that I was planning on going. So there I was sitting, I obtained, I got my bachelor's degree, didn't know what to do with it. And then the senior advocate, Bob, I was working with him because it was a part-time job for him, but I was working at a full-time job. And he told me about this position that opened up for Met. So I was like, okay, I looked into it, and like Colin here, I looked at migratory farm workers. I was like, what is this? What am I getting into? I had no idea what this was. I was trying to do some research on it. So I did the interview. They offered me the position. I said, okay, fine. Yeah, cool. Because they explained it to me, what was more in detail of what we were doing, what we did. And I'm like, okay, cool. Get to help people. So I started off in Liberty County, and I quickly realized that this is something that I can be very well passionate about because of the difference that it can make. And after just under a year, that's when I got promoted to the Continual Quality Improvement Specialist, aka CQI Specialist. And I've been doing that, and it's very fulfilling because especially whenever you hear stories from past clients that I had personally dealt with, tell me the difference that I've made in their life. I mean, it fills me with joy and makes me know that the hard work that I've done isn't being, not overlooked.
Right.
So. Right.
Because sometimes the role of a father is overlooked, and that's kind of where the Fatherhood Initiative came into play.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about why do we have a Fatherhood Initiative?
Oh, well, we hear everything about mothers. Mothers are always the go-to in relationship with children, but there was a man that took part and made that possible.
Right,
and
right.
we're through this program, we're hoping to bring awareness to the community, of course, in Montgomery County and all the other counties that we service, that fathers are very much important, and we need to bring them in more versus turning them away or not even welcoming them. So we hope that through our program, our fathers are getting the respect that they deserve, and then they're also being pulled in to be able to be a beacon and a voice for their children.
Okay, because you guys do a lot of, basically it's education, right? I mean, you do a lot of different things.
Parenting classes,
Helping.
helping them become a better role in their role.
Yeah. So we want to talk a little bit more about those programs that you have, give people some information about how to take advantage of those and how to, like you said, you wish you had had something like that when you were younger. So if people that are listening know if, are interested themselves or know of someone else who could probably benefit, we definitely want to give them some information. And then we'll also leave with some good parenting tips.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to take a little break, and then we'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening to Lone Star Radio. This is the Extension Hour, our people, our programs, our partnerships, and we'll be right back. Family and community health programs provide science-based education designed to improve the overall health and wellness of individuals, families, and communities. Developed by experts and delivered locally, topics include child and adult health, nutrition, child care, financial management, passenger and community safety, and building strong families, all encouraging lifelong health and well-being for every person, every family, and every community. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show, with monthly and weekly slots available in Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Are you interested in learning more about preparing quick, healthy, and safe meals for your family? Would you like to spend time with others learning tips and tricks, along with practicing and tasting nutritious food? If so, the On the Road to Healthy Living Mobile Cooking School is for you. Call Amy Ressler at Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service at 936-539-7825 to find a class near you or volunteer to host a class.
For those of you who like your partners, your gumbo, and your music salty, well, we're here to help with the music. Julian Shea here, host of Lone Star Country Nights Thursday, your weekly dose of roots and Americana and all the music that makes this part of the country special. We stir in Western swing, honky-tonk, Zydeco, Texas blues, outlaw country, and put a pinch of red dirt, and then we smoke it over a slow fire. Then listen to the results Thursday nights on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 and worldwide at irlonestar.com.
Welcome back to the Extension Hour. I'm Amy Ressler. This is the Extension Hour where we talk about our people, our programs, our partnerships, and we've got the Met Fatherhood Initiative guys. There's we're going to talk a little bit more about the programs that you do, but you guys help families in lots of different ways. So one of the other things that we do in Extension to help families is our 4-H program is very family oriented, very much a family activity. So we have lots of kids that participate, but it's really a family event. And so one of the things that is going on now, the spring is really full of a lot of stock shows. So major stock shows that are happening. San Antonio is going on right now. Houston is in March. San Angelo just happened. And then there's Fort Worth just happened. Anyway, lots of major stock shows. And then in April is when we have our Montgomery County Fair. So a lot of people associate 4-H with livestock and showing animals, which is a huge part of 4-H, but there's also some other things. And interestingly about livestock shows, some of the things that people can participate in that they don't always realize. So we have a food challenge that's kind of like kind of patterned after Chopped, I guess. So that's one of the things. They don't even have to have an animal to be able to participate in a stock show. So pretty cool. If you're interested in learning more about 4-H, all of our contact information. 936-539-7825 is our phone number. We've got a Facebook page for 4-H, also for Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service of Montgomery County, which, by the way, we are on Facebook Live right now, so hey. I know, surprise. All right, and then speaking of contact information, Daniel, as part of your quality control, you're like in charge of contact information. Is that what you said, Raphael?
He does,
Yep.
yes.
Quality
I do all
assurance.
the intakes for both of our fatherhood programs, and that's where I filter it from who goes to which program, which is New Pathways, and also AFFECT, which I'll let Colin explain what AFFECT
Abbreviation.
stands for.
Yeah, acronyms.
It is educating fathers educating fathers for empowering children tomorrow.
Okay.
So
So-
yeah, so I do the intake for it and determine who goes where, and then that's when the advocates or Colin himself will take advantage of that and reach out to them and set up the orientation and go from there.
All right, so someone's listening and thinking this might be something that I'm interested in. How do they get in contact with you?
They contact me directly to my work phone, which is 832-966-1113.
And you guys do social media as well?
Yes, we do. We have a Facebook page, New Pathways.
So Met, M-E-T.
Med Inc.
Med
So
Inc.
it's-
Okay.
Yeah,
and New Pathways.
New
New
Pathways.
Pathways on Facebook.
All right. All right, so Effective Fatherhood is a particular program that you guys do, right?
It is.
So and you're going to do the acronym again?
It's going to change this time to educating fathers for empowering children tomorrow.
And so what does that mean? What do you guys do?
So we do work with fathers or father figures, whether that be a brother that's caring for younger siblings or an uncle or a grandfather. And for AFFECT, it is with children 0 to 17. So essentially it is free parenting classes geared towards fathers. We focus on topics such as co-parenting, discipline, communications, handling and showing emotions, men's health. And from there, we also do employment services, so job search, resume building. And then as far as the New Pathways side, they also can help with certifications. But really just trying to help better that situation for that father, show him the importance of his role and just to better equip them for the sake of their children in their future.
Okay, so someone is interested in participating in this. What does that mean? What does that look like for them?
As far as
Like classes, they need to go certain times, or how does that work?
As far as scheduling, we're extremely flexible. I am the only advocate for AFFECT. So basically, whatever works best for them, we try to meet them where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
So for a lot of my guys that are in Conroe, we use Montgomery County Library in one of their private rooms. So we can meet at pretty much any hour of any day. And then the classes are 2 hours. We meet twice a week for 6 weeks, so there are 12 sessions. And as well as for those classes, we do offer incentives and fuel cards for transportation each session. That way they're not having to pay out of pocket to come to these classes. And then we also provide a free meal at each session.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys
That's
are
good.
working, so
Yeah.
they're coming straight from work to our classes, so we don't want to have to, make them sit there and starve until they can get home to their kids.
Right.
And but that's the basis of what I do.
Okay, so you meet with them as a group,
Yes.
or do you ever meet with them one-on-one?
It's basically group. 99% of the time, there are some cases where if a guy can't make a session, we'll meet one-on-one to make that up. Or in some instances, I have a client right now. He's the only one that's in New Caney, so I don't expect him to travel all the way to Conroe. It's just not
Right.
a good idea. I mean, that's far for him to travel.
Sure.
So it's easier just to meet where he's at and just have a one-on-one. And some guys are more comfortable one-on-one. We like the group setting because guys can bounce off each other ideas. If one guy is thinking one thing but doesn't want to say it, another guy might be going through it as well or has gone through it, and so it creates that brotherhood and that bond,
Right.
and gives them just another supportive person in their corner.
Sure. Yeah. So like a lot of the classes that I do, I think I'm a good teacher, but I do realize that people learn a lot more from each other, sometimes more than they learn from me. And then I learn from them, and it's just really helpful to have that kind of lots of different information and looking at things with a different perspective as well is really, really helpful. So speaking of different perspectives, what you mentioned a few of the topics, but what would a class be like?
Well, so we start with the food. We'll let them eat, get that out of the way, because nobody's
important,
paying
yes.
attention while they're eating.
That's right. Hangry does not work.
No, it doesn't.
We use a evidence-based curriculum called 24/7 Dad. So it's got different activities, different topics that we cover, and really it's just open dialogue. It's just open that conversation and talking and having real conversations. As men, we're stubborn, we're prideful. We don't go to the bar with our. We don't go to the bar. We don't go to the bar with our buddies and talk about our feelings or what's going on. That's just so it gives men a place to do that as well. So they last about 2 hours, and just each topic we go over it and kind of get different perspectives on it, and give advice to each other if it's needed.
Sure, because raising kids can be hard.
Yes.
I mean, it's wonderful and joyful and awesome, but there's a lot of bumps in the roads that maybe you don't always realize right away. All right, so Raphael, tell us a little bit more about how this program is funded. So you mentioned some incentives. They get fuel cards, so that means their gas will be reimbursed for being there. You feed them. So why do these things exist?
Well, New Pathways for Fathers and Families is grant funded under the Office of Family Assistance, and it's been a long initiative that they've been doing. Met has recently got onto this cohort. We're on our last quarter of it, and it was created to help the community, help the fathers understand their important role, because most of the times when you're dealing with children, the fathers are always left out. So through this grant, it helps us educate the fathers of their role and also let them see the mother role and how important both of their roles are equally yoked together when they participate together. And it doesn't have to be a married couple. It can be a dual home, but with the father outside of the home, it's also important to involve him. So we try to help the father understand that even though you and mother may not be in a relationship together, the child still needs both parents.
Right. So tell me a little bit more, too, about, so there's the EFFECT program and then the other one, New Pathways.
New Pathways. So New Pathways and EFFECT are two different programs. Our New Pathways is our federally grant program, and then our EFFECT program is state funded, which is funded under the DFPS umbrella, Preventative Intervention PEI, which is Preventative Early Intervention Program that helps with communicating, again, the community of the role of the father and the important role that the father plays.
Okay. So, again, if people want to know more information about it, how are they going to find out?
Contact me, Daniel Lugo, at 832-966-1113.
Okay, so besides just providing phone numbers, what is your job? Use quality assurance, is that?
Continual.
Continual.
Quality assurance. Yeah, believe me, it took me about a year to remember that. So basically what I do is that I reach out to other community partners through the initial connection is through our advocates. So they find an organization that's within their community that they believe that we can help out with. They'll relay their information over to me, so that way I'll reach out to them to try to create a meeting between our organization and their organization and see what the benefits are for the families within those communities, because every community is different. Conroe is different from, say, Liberty and Dayton and Sealy, Hempstead. They're all totally different. There's all totally different needs and wants in those areas. So we try to focus on those areas and the needs and wants that they need in those areas. And the best way to do that is with the advocates that are there on the ground.
Right. So that reminds me a little bit of kind of how we work in Extension. We do exactly what you're saying. Every community is a little bit different. So we have some programs that we do throughout the state, very similar, but each community needs it delivered a little differently, or different places or different times. Like, some places it works really well to meet in the evening, and some places it doesn't work so well. So, and then having advocates similar to what we do. We have agents in every county that are there. So it sounds like there's a lot of similarities. We're all about helping people make their lives better, and that's one of the things that I love about working with Met and the things that you guys do. All right, so we are going to take another little break. We're going to be back in just a few more minutes. We'll talk some more about the programs, and then you guys, I've given you time. You got to come up with those parenting tips, so things that you want people to remember. So, maybe they don't ever get to go to a class, but what are some things that they can think about and apply in their lives? today. So we will be back in just a minute. You are listening to the Extension Hour here on Lone Star Radio. We're on 104.5, 106.1, irlonestar.com, and then also on Facebook Live. Apple Play, I always say it wrong, but Apple Podcast, Google Play, you can listen to them that way too. So you can tell people, go back and listen to what we talked about, and they'll know more about the fatherhood programs that Met has. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
You're going to need me.
You're going to need us.
All of us.
You're going to need our help with your water, your air, your food.
You're going to need our determination, our compassion.
You're going to need the next generation of leaders to face the challenges the future will bring.
And we promise, we'll be there when you need us.
Today, 4-H is growing the next generation of leaders.
Remember to download the Lone Star Community Radio app from your Google Play Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM 104.5, 106.1. If you are on your computer, bookmark irlonestar.com as your internet radio station. Lone Star Community Radio, broadcasting 24/7 from the heart of downtown Conroe, Texas.
Second Saturday Divorce Workshop provides unbiased information to help you understand your options and move forward with your life. This divorce workshop is for you if you are contemplating divorce, in the process of divorce, already filed for divorce, or post-divorce. You will explore the emotional, legal, and financial aspects of divorce from professionals who have guided others through divorce. For more information on this divorce workshop, contact SecondSaturdayWoodlands.com or call 832-375-0900.
Hey guys, this is Connor.
This is Dick.
This is Chris. And we're with the Ticket Stub Podcast every Thursday live at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 FM in the Conroe area. Also, anytime at irlonestar.com. You go to irlonestar.com/TTS. You can find all of our social media.
And don't forget, we give away 2 tickets to the Grand Theater on every show. If you like movies and you like complaining or celebrating anything that has to do with the silver screen, check out the Ticket Stub Podcast and join us every Thursday at noon o'clock on Lone Star Community Radio.
Welcome back. I'm Amy Ressler, County Extension Agent, Family and Community Health. I've got Raphael. I always want to put like an extra syllable in there, but Raphael, Henry, Colin Cange, Daniel Lugo. I did it good, right?
You did.
All right, yay. And they're all with Motivation Education Training Incorporated, also known as MET, and we are talking about fatherhood programs. Before we get into that, though, let me tell you a little bit more about what we're doing in Family and Community Health. So health and nutrition is a big part of what we do. So we like to help people learn more about nutrition, hopefully eat at home more often. And so sometimes that means kind of beefing up your cooking skills. And so we do some cooking classes. We have what we call a mobile cooking school, and that we've got one scheduled coming up on February 12th at South Library. And we have this, so we have equipment, 4 different tubs of equipment that we load up in the truck and we take it to wherever the site is. We actually we do a little bit of a lesson and then we prepare a meal together. And so they're kind of quick, easy, economical, healthy meals to help, like I said, encourage people to make better choices more often, that kind of thing. So one coming up at South Library on February 12th, and that's going to be like at 11:30 to 1:30, and the library is handling the registration for that. And then another thing that we're doing that's pretty popular right now is electric pressure cookers. So like Instapots, but that's a brand name. But there's several other kinds, but electric pressure cookers. So a really quick, easy way, again, to prepare healthy meals. And so we've got a couple of those classes coming up. One is going to be February 19th. They're at the Extension office, so in Conroe at 9020 Airport Road. And then that following Saturday, there's going to be one at the Spring Creek Greenway Nature Center, which is out in the Spring area. So it's almost on the Harris County line, but so that part of the county. And then, I mentioned these classes. We can provide these classes kind of anywhere that people are interested. So basically what we do is just we work with different community partners to bring these classes to them. So again, that sounds like a lot of similarities that we have with MET, because when we were talking about how you mentioned community partners and sharing that information with them. So if someone is interested, there's a process to it, right? An enrollment process. So let's talk a little bit more about that.
So pretty much the initial contact is that we are a voluntary program, both New Pathways and Effect, and I'm sorry I'm not going to do the abbreviation for Effect. But yeah, basically we're voluntary. So they contact me at 832-966-1113, and I'll do the initial intake, basically get their name, number, some basic information, and then I will send that to our advocates in the areas that they're close to. There is an occasion where they may not be in our area, so therefore I will then point them into the closest organization that's to them. There has been on special occasions where they don't have a fatherhood organization near them, to where we would actually have to get special permission to be able to facilitate the program for them. And that has happened before, so it's something that we're not afraid of happening because we know what to do with it. But when that happens, I send the information to the advocate in their area. At that point, the advocate will reach out to them within 48 business hours. I'm sorry, I got to be more clear on that one. 48 business hours.
Yeah, if you call Friday afternoon.
Exactly. So, but the advocates will always call them within the 48 business hours, set up a time for them to come in to do orientation. For New Pathways orientation, just filling out paperwork, doing a quick survey, and at that point, they'll discuss when is a good time and date to have the sessions. Sometimes the advocates already have a group going, so they'll just slide that new client in and continue from that point on. But time and date, like Mr. Collins says, we're always very flexible with our clients, and we try to meet them where they can be met at.
And you mentioned a couple times it's a voluntary program. So it's not that anybody tells you have to go to these classes. It's not like mandatory. I mean,
Correct.
Voluntary is the opposite of mandatory. Okay, basics there. But sometimes there are situations where parenting classes become mandated, and parents will need to go through that to meet some type of court requirement. But for your programs, it's totally voluntary. So it's I want to be a better dad. Please help me. Okay.
That's exactly right.
So, and we mentioned too that there's two different programs that you guys run.
Correct.
So you were telling me during the break a little bit about the differences between those two. So one is called New Pathways for Fathers and Families,
Correct.
and the other one is called Effective Fatherhood, right? Which is an acronym. And we won't. So, Raphael, tell us a little bit about the difference. Why do you have two different programs with the same purpose?
So they of course have the same purpose, but the Effect program is more of a campaign trying to promote the awareness of fatherhood, and we were trying to get that campaign out to businesses such as educational settings, medical settings, just to let them know that fathers should be involved in all those aspects of the child's life. So through this campaign, we're trying to push it out into the community to say dad needs to be involved. So through that campaign, it is very important that some of our key players that we would like to have also invited to come in to sit on our board, somewhat of a board, but committee, to help with the promotion of that. We're looking for dads that have experienced fatherhood for a while. They understand the aspect of it. They can tell you their trials and tribulations that they've went through and how it has helped them become a better father. So with our New Pathways for Fathers and Families program, that program helps a father that's a little bit struggling with understanding their teenager, why their teenager is being rebellious. So in our curriculum, we cover...
Is there anybody who doesn't struggle with that?
Oh, no. Teenagers. If you can come out at 18, we'll have a lot of them. But the New Pathways for Fathers and Family, we really help that father understand the importance of communication, because communication can kill a lot of issues if you just know exactly what the child wants. So our curriculum deals with health, on making sure the father understands the importance of taking care of himself. Then we also talk about co-parenting for some issues that could be a problem with families that are dealing with child support. And then we just talk about what it is to just be a father involved, actively involved, and being there for when their child needs them.
Okay. And so one of the things that you mentioned that you guys do is Daddy and Me events,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about those. What do those look like?
So we are, of course, in 7 counties, and the 7 counties that we are servicing is Austin County, Waller County, Montgomery County, Liberty County, Hardin County, Chambers County, and Northeast Harris County. And my advocate hosts an event every quarter, so every 3 months they're putting on an event called Daddy and Me. And what that is getting the fathers to be actively involved with their kids for an hour or two with an educational setting. That could be in one of our counties, we hosted a Daddy and Me dance where our community partners felt that it was a great idea. They contributed to that by buying tiaras and ties for the kids. So we ended up changing the name of the event to Ties and Tiaras. So as the kids were coming in, the dads were able to put a tie on them if it was their male child, and a tiara and a crown if it was their daughter. And they got to dance, enjoy food. We've done events where they have a movie night where we bring out blankets, let them sit down and watch movies with popcorn, and just have that time with dad. So they're so intimate that the child is able to engage with their father, because most of the time it's mother. But because dads are the providers, they're working, and we understand that. But sometimes dad needs to just kick back and say, my role as a father is key, and that's most important right now.
And Colin, you had mentioned that you've been talking with Mike McBride, our program assistant there at the Extension Office, about coordinating a program there. So tell us a little bit about what's in store there.
So we're in the beginning stages of planning an event with Mike in Texas A&M AgriLife. So what the plan is right now is to have basically the 4-H programs come out, invite fathers in the communities, those that are like in the FRED program or in our sessions at Head Starts, and to have all the programs there to kind of let the kids and the fathers see what's available as far as either the textile, the robotics, the showing animals, and that way it's a free avenue for kids to have outside of school activities. Yeah. Instead of soccer camps or basketball camps that cost a lot of money. Not everybody has the money to do that, so it gives them a free alternative to have their kids involved in something outside of school.
Sure. And you mentioned another acronym I need to make sure that I say. So FRED.
Yeah.
He was like, what did I do? What did I do?
Yeah.
So FRED is Families Reading Every Day.
Mm-hmm.
And so actually, interestingly, that program actually started as a fathering initiative. Mm-hmm. So Fathers Reading Every Day. And that's still an important part of the project. We just try to also focus on family. So it's a family enrichment program as well as a literacy development program. And so we do that at the Head Start sites, and then also sometimes with home visiting, and then other kind of community partners that are interested and would like to do that. So Families Reading Every Day, Fathers Reading Every Day. It's one of my favorites. I really like that one. And so speaking of community partners, you guys mentioned how important community partners are for you. Mm-hmm. So talk a little bit more about that. Like, what kind of community partners do you have?
So for our New Pathways for Fathers and Families program, we help fathers obtain certifications. And of course, we have monetary incentives that we provide to our participants. But sometimes, we have more fathers that we can actually afford to send. So through our connections with our community partners, they're able to pick up some of the financial piece that we are unable to possibly take care of, and they will send our participants to certifications. We have partnerships with Volunteers of America, and we have partnerships with Lone Star Community College. And through those connections, we're able to help a father obtain sustainable employment. So that those community partners make it so much easier for us to help the fathers understand. And I, of course, don't want to leave out any community partners. So excuse me for not mentioning any that we have, but those are the 2 top that I know right off the top of my head, because we have several in all the counties that we are representative in.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say is that you provide the money for their tuition to be able to get a certification so that they can become more employable.
Yes.
And so what kind of certifications do
one
you guys get?
One of our top certifications right now is fiber optic. Mm-hmm. We have an instructor that comes in. It's a week-long program. He educates our participants on how to instill fiber optic, how to slice it, how to connect it. And then we also have HVAC, which we know we can't live in Texas without air conditioning. So they go through a 1.5-month long course where once they're completed, they are certified in both programs, and they're able to, with HVAC, if they're in there and they're educating it and they're learning more about it, they can become their own contractor and be entrepreneurs.
Oh, That's awesome.
Yes.
All right. So, community partners and quality control and being an effective father. So, what other kinds of things do people need to know about these programs?
One thing that we left out and we leave out all the time, it is 100% free.
Okay.
It is free, and we actually pay you to be in our New Pathways to Fathers and Family program, as in the aspect of we give you monetary milestone incentives once you hit so many milestones within our program. So we'll give you a $50 gift card for every fourth session after you've completed a milestone that is in relation with that milestone. So we give you gas cards for every session that you attend. And we also are able to help with childcare. If the father is the single parent and he's caring for his child, we can give monetary incentives to help with supporting of the childcare.
Wow. So the only thing that you can't do is put more hours in the day for them, right? But other than that, there's really not an excuse really
to not
not
become
to
a better
participate
father.
because there's so many options. All right, so we heard free. What does that
Yes.
mean? What does that mean? But how can you take advantage of that? Tell us about the contact information again.
They contact me, Daniel Lugo, at 832-966-1113. And if they happen to call, if I'm off, I always return my phone calls. As long as they leave a voicemail, they have to leave a voicemail. If they don't, I don't know who to call. I don't know who to contact. So a voicemail is preferred. Or if you need to, you can also text the number as well, because it is a mobile number. Okay. So that's something that I have with me all the time, with the exception of during the weekend when I'm off. That's work. I keep work, and I keep my family life. Because just like how the program promotes family, that's what I do. I focus on my family when it's my time off. So I believe in what we do, and I carry that over. And there's a lot of things that I've learned when I was an advocate that I carried over into my own personal life, and it helps me out. And that's why I go all in for this program. That's why I'm with them, and I'm proud to be with them.
So, Colin, what do you think is the best thing about the Effective program?
It's like he said, it's preventative and early intervention, and it's really just giving that support system to the dads, knowing they're not alone if they're in a co-parenting situation, or if they're even dads that are going through custody battles. Giving that extra advice, having somebody in their corner just to help them out. I mean, we all need somebody to help us out, and if we don't have family, if we don't have, our spouse, then at least there's somebody that can back them up.
And the ultimate goal is to have healthier, happier children.
Yes.
Right. Because we could go into all kinds of about how helpful that is for society when children have secure attachments with their mother and their father.
Stronger foundations.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we are going to take another little break, and we'll be back. And then, you've had this time. Parenting tips. So things to go away with, things to think about, mothers and fathers, but just some of the best things about parenting and how to get through some of those challenges. Because this is the Extension Hour. We're all about education, helping people make their lives better. Our people, our programs, our partnerships. And we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service is all about extending knowledge and providing solutions. We do that by using science-based information to create high-quality and relevant education for the people of Texas. More importantly, this outstanding education is delivered locally, right here in our county. We encourage lasting and effective change that helps our communities and our county thrive. We are Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, helping Texans make their lives better.
Our talk shows and music shows are looking for sponsors. Want to expand your brand awareness? Reach the hyper-local audience in Montgomery County? Lone Star Community Radio sponsorships accomplish this. Want to see our stats and rates? Check out irlonestar.com/sponsor for more information. Or call in and leave us a message at 936-647-3776 with your question. Get seen on TV or YouTube and heard on our podcast, FM, and internet radio. Sponsor your local radio station with Lone Star Community Radio.
Does volunteering at a nonprofit horse sanctuary sound wonderful? Or are you a veteran or a veteran spouse and think trying a peer group session through a local Horses and Heroes equine program might be worth trying? Henry's Home Horse and Human Sanctuary, located in Grand Central Park by appointment only, is home to a growing number of rescued and donated horses. Visit our website at henryshomehorsesanctuary.org or check out our Facebook at Henry's Home Horse and Human Sanctuary for more information.
Hey y'all, it's DJ Mike from Dance Simon, Texas. Join me Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. as I count down the top 10 Texas Red Dirt songs that are packing the dance floor. I'll be featuring local artists and the story behind the hits, shows in the area, as well as new songs that make you want to dance. It's Dance Time in Texas with DJ Mike on Lone Star Community Radio, 104.5 KCZW and 106.1 KZCC, Conroe, Texas, or online, irlonestar.com.
Welcome back to the Extension Hour. We are talking about our people, our programs, our partnerships. We've got our partners from MET and Motivation Education Training Incorporated. They do lots of great programs. And we've got the guys here today talking about the great programs that you do for fathers. So an often overlooked part of parenting, but definitely a very important part. So we said in this last little segment we were going to talk about some of the some parenting tips. So some things to think about. Colin, you've got one on the way. Mm-hmm. Daniel, you've got 3, 16 to 21. So hands full. Yeah. Raphael, you were planning and dreaming of becoming the perfect father. Yes. So you've got it all figured out now, right?
Never. I get scared when I hear about the teenage years.
Yeah. I think they're all a little scary. I mean, each little stage has something that's they're scary, but they're also like awesome and
learning.
So so I've got 2 grown kids, and I've got 2 grandbabies and 1 grandbaby on the way. So kind of the next cycle of parenting is
grandparenting.
So is grandparenting better than parenting? Is it? My parents always claim that. They always claim that
she's not going to say it on live.
It is. Well, there's different parts of it. So you never really stop being a parent too. So I want to help my kids, but they're the parents, so they've got to do what they've got to do with their kids. And I try not to be like meddling or interfering, but try to be there and be supportive and that kind of thing. But I do like to spoil them as well.
And send them home.
You can totally do this. And then send them home.
Send them on the way with mom and dad.
Yeah. But,
payback.
So my two of my grandbabies are in New York State. So they live north of Buffalo, so way too far away. So then when I do get a chance to see them, I get to
payback.
That's right. It's like intensive time that I get to be, because can't just go home, or I can't just send them home. So then I am like kind of careful about how much sugar I give them and that kind of thing. But Rory loves cupcakes. She loves to make them. She didn't really love to eat them. But anyway, so we're getting way off. So we're going to talk about you guys and your tips for parenting, fathering. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
So, like I've stated before, one of our key curriculum is communication. And we recently had a sit-down conversation with one of our past participants that Mr. Lugo was his advocate, and his key takeaway from our program was that he had adult children, and he was living a lifestyle that he wasn't happy about, and he was not connected with his children. But through our program, communication really stuck with him, how he felt that he could be the father, so he was demanding. Whatever he said was that. And he said that, through one of the curriculums, Daniel sit him down and said, hey, let's look at the problem, and the problem is you. You're not communicating effectively with your children because they're adults. They have a right to say what they want to say. We may not like what is said, but we have to be able to give our kids that avenue to say, speak what you want to speak, and let's sit down and have a conversation about it.
Yeah. And with adult children too, the pathway thing. Yes. I mean, they have to make their own
clear path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, make their own choices. So, and then communicating with children is
Of
very
all
different.
age.
Yes. Obviously the infants as opposed to the toddlers, as opposed to the preteens, as opposed to the teenagers.
Yeah.
So, Daniel, you said you've been having fun with teenage years?
Oh, definitely. My daughter has been pretty good. She's been focusing on school because, like we were talking about before, she's a senior this year, and she's going to be graduating with her associate's degree from Lone Star, and wants to go to zoology, focus on lions, which, of course, me and my wife are not too fond of, but it is what she wants to do. It's what her passion is.
Yeah.
And ever since she was little, she's always talking about wanting to work with animals. So we're great. My son, on the other hand, he's more of a handful. And he's somebody that he's really taught me patience of being a father, because my father was there, but he wasn't there. He was he's old school of, I'm here just to provide shelter, food, clothes on your back, that's it. So I'm learning as I go. And I hope that my kids grow up to be a better man or a better person than I have, better parent than I have. And I think that's what a lot of fathers especially that come to our program, want to be that better parent and father for their children, to show their daughters what to look for in a husband, and the sons to show them what a man is supposed to be, what a man is supposed to represent. And as time goes on, the roles are going to change, but you have to roll with the time, and you have to adapt to it. And that's that's really hard for a lot of fathers. And that's one topic that I wanted to talk about, is dealing and handling our emotions, because as men, we've always been taught, be tough, suck it up, rub some dirt on it. That's not the case. You have to be able to, which kind of goes into communication, you have to be able to let somebody know. You have to have that confidant, whether it's your spouse, whether it's a friend, whether it's your mother or your father, somebody that you can go to vent, because it's not good to hold all that stuff in there, because if you hold that in there, like there's a one in, was it session 3?
The feelings.
There's an exercise that we do in there, and it's very powerful, because we have them think about 3 different emotions that they deal with from day to day, and grab objects. You have 3 different objects. You have to cover up with a different body part. And as you go through and you're moving around, it really hinders you. So why not let some of that go to help relieve some of that stress, anger, frustration? 3 easy ones that people tend to deal with from day to day. Why carry that with you when you can easily let some of it go and lighten your burden? And that will reflect into the family and the relationship that a father can have with his family. So that's my tip going forward, because that's something that I learned when I first started this program, because like we said before, I wish that this was around because I'm a high school dropout, because like I said, I started having kids when I was a teenager. I was still in high school, so my main thing was to be like my father, go to work. That was my main priority. So if I'd known this, I feel that I'm a better man because of the way that I've learned from my father not to be a father. But still, you can never have too much information is the way I look at it. And I think it really could have helped me out earlier in life.
And there can be a lot of insecurity that kind of goes along with the idea that, I was raised this way and I turned out okay. And then you think, well, then I have to do things differently, or I have to do things just like my parents did them. But it's okay to do things differently. All right. Darn it, we got
very deep.
We did very deep, very, very, very quickly. So if you're listening and you know someone who needs some help and they would like to be a better father, better parent, there's also programs for mothers as well, but we're just focusing on the fathering ones today. So one more time, what is the contact information?
832-966-1113, whether it's a father or even a community individual that knows a company or owns a company that wants to help out, please reach out to us.
Okay, and then of course you can also contact us at the Extension office. We can get you in contact because you guys are our partners
We
too.
are.
We work really well together. So 936-539-7825 is the Extension office. Lots of programs that we offer as well. So thank you guys for being here today. Baby coming?
For having, yes.
Yes,
Find out
dude.
gender on Wednesday. So
Congratulations.
here's hoping it's a boy.
Yeah.
Triplets.
I already got the little girl, so now I
Yeah,
need my
one of
father
each,
to
one
have
of
Balance.
each, yeah. But as long as they're healthy and beautiful and all that, and we're working on being better parents.
Yes, we are.
So, all right, thank you for joining us today for the Extension Hour. Next week, we're going to have Jamie Fales from Willis ISD. Week after that, we're going to talk all about 4-H. So it'll be 4-H 101. And then on February 28th, the program will be Mosaics of Mercy. Excellent organization. We're going to learn more about what they do. But this is the Extension Hour. We're right here on irlonestar.com, 104.5, 106.1. Apple Play, Google Play, all those kind of, whatever. You can listen to the podcast. Oh, YouTube. YouTube's the other one. Yeah. So thanks for listening. We'll be back next week. Take care.
Thank you.